I'm standing in my living room, the same living room where I raised my son, where my husband took his last breath, where I've lived for 44 years, and my daughter-in-law is directing 2 moving men to start packing my belongings, without my permission. Without my consent. Like this is her house to command. Start with the bedroom, she tells them. Pack everything. I'm 71 years old. I'm a widow. I'm a retired teacher. And this woman, who married my son 2 years ago, has decided that I'm too old to live in my own home. She's chosen an assisted living facility for me. Paid the deposit. Hired movers. All without asking me. You can't do this, I tell her. This is my house, she laughs. Actually laughs. Not for long. It's time you accepted reality. You're old. You can't maintain this place. Kenny deserves his inheritance. Kenny, my son. Standing behind her, looking uncomfortable but not stopping her. I'm calling the police, I say. Go ahead, she sneers. Kenny is family. He has every right to be here. But you don't. That's when I made the call that changed everything. When the police arrived and asked for proof of ownership, I showed them my deed. My property tax records. 44 years of documentation, all in my name. Only my name. My daughter-in-law's face when she realized she had no legal claim to my house, that I could have her arrested for trespassing. That moment made everything that came next worth it. What city are you watching from right now? Drop your location in the comments below. I want to know where this story is reaching. And if this is your first time here, subscribe and turn on notifications. We share stories like this every day. Real family drama, real manipulation, real justice. My name is Beatrice Coleman. This is how my daughter-in-law tried to steal my house, and how I fought back. I bought this house 44 years ago with my husband Gerald. I was 27 years old. He was 29. We'd saved every penny from my teaching salary and his construction work. It's a modest 3-bedroom ranch in a quiet neighborhood in Charlotte. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. We brought our son Kenny home from the hospital to this house. His first steps were in this living room. His height marks are still on the kitchen door frame, every birthday from age 2 to 18. Gerald and I raised Kenny here. Celebrated every Christmas, every birthday, every milestone in this house. We built our entire lives within these walls. Gerald died 6 years ago. Diabetes complications. He spent his last 3 months in a hospital bed we set up in the living room. He wanted to be home, not in a hospital. So I took care of him here. Fed him, bathed him, held his hand every day until he passed. After he died, people asked if I'd sell the house. It's so big for one person. Don't you want something smaller? Easier to manage? No, I didn't. This house holds every memory I have of the life I built. My husband's favorite chair is still in the corner. His tools are still in the garage. The garden I've maintained for 40 years is my pride and joy. I'm 71, not dead. I'm perfectly capable of living here. I drive, I cook, I garden. I volunteer at the library twice a week. I have coffee with my friend Claudia every Tuesday morning. I'm not lonely. I'm not incapable. I'm not waiting around to be put in a nursing home. But my daughter-in-law, Amber, seems to think otherwise. Let me back up and tell you how Amber came into our lives. Kenny got married young, at 25, to a woman named Jessica. Nice girl. They divorced 5 years ago. It was amicable, no drama. They just realized they wanted different things. No kids, which made it easier. For 3 years, Kenny was single. Focused on his career. Visited me every Sunday for dinner. We were close. He was a good son. Attentive, caring. Always checking on me after Gerald died. Then, 3 years ago, he met Amber at some conference. She was working as a life coach, whatever that means. 33 years old, divorced twice already. That should have been a red flag. But Kenny was smitten. He brought her to meet me after they'd been dating for 2 months. Mom, this is Amber. Amber, this is my mom, Beatrice. Everyone calls her B. Amber smiled. Too bright, too perfect. It's so wonderful to meet you, Mrs. Coleman. Kenny talks about you constantly. She was polished, confident, pretty in a very maintained way, perfect hair, perfect nails, expensive clothes. We sat in my living room. I'd made coffee and homemade pound cake. Amber looked around, taking in the house. What a charming home. How long have you lived here? 41 years at that point. Wow, that's a long time. It must be hard to maintain all by yourself. I managed just fine. Of course. But at your age, don't you worry about stairs? Yard work? What if you fell? I was 68. Not ancient. I'm very careful, and I have people I can call if I need help. Still, Kenny worries about you being here alone. I looked at Kenny. He shifted uncomfortably. I just want to make sure you're safe, Mom. I am safe. Amber smiled again. Of course. We just care about you. It felt condescending. Like I was a child being humored. But I brushed it off. Maybe she was just nervous, trying too hard to seem caring. They dated for 6 months, then got engaged. Fast, I thought. But Kenny was 41, old enough to make his own choices. They got married in a small ceremony. I paid for the rehearsal dinner, $2,800, which put a dent in my savings. Amber picked an expensive restaurant. Only the best for family, she said. After the wedding, things started to change. Kenny's Sunday dinners became less frequent. Every other week. Then once a month, Amber and I have plans became the usual excuse. When they did visit, Amber dominated the conversation. Talking about their apartment, their finances, how expensive everything was. We're trying to save for a house, she'd say. But Charlotte real estate is so expensive. We'll probably be stuck renting forever. She'd look around my house when she said it. Like she was calculating its value. 6 months into their marriage, Amber started making suggestions. B, have you thought about downsizing? You could sell this place, get a nice little apartment. Think of the equity you'd free up. I don't want to sell. This is my home. But it's so much space for one person, and the maintenance costs must be high. I can afford it. Still, at your age, wouldn't it be easier to have someone else handle repairs? A senior community? I'm not interested in a senior community. She'd smile, nod, drop it. But she'd bring it up again the next visit, and the next, always with Kenny present, always framing it as concern for my well-being. Mom, Amber has a point, Kenny said once. What if something happened to you? What if you fell and couldn't get to the phone? I have a medical alert system. I'm fine, but wouldn't you be safer somewhere with staff? People checking on you? I looked at my son, the boy I raised in this house, and I realized something was happening. Something I didn't like. Amber was planting seeds, making him question whether I should be living independently, making him think I needed to be managed, and it was only going to get worse. 1 year into their marriage, Amber's suggestions became demands. She started showing up at my house unannounced. Just checking on you, B. She'd walk through my rooms like she was inspecting them. Commenting on everything. This carpet is so worn. You should replace it. These curtains are outdated. Have you thought about updating? Your kitchen appliances are ancient. What if the stove catches fire? Always framing it as concern. Always making me feel like I was failing at maintaining my own home. Then she started bringing people, a real estate agent, just to give you an idea of what the house is worth. No pressure. The agent walked through taking notes. Beautiful lot, great bones. In this market, you could easily get $285,000, maybe $300,000. Amber's eyes lit up. CB? That's a lot of money. You could live very comfortably in a nice facility with that kind of nest egg. I'm not selling my house. The agent left. Amber stayed. You're being stubborn. Kenny and I are struggling financially. We can barely afford our apartment. You're sitting on all this equity you don't even need. This equity is mine. I earned it. Gerald and I paid off this house with 40 years of hard work. But what are you going to do with it? You can't take it with you when you die. It'll go to Kenny. Eventually, when I'm gone. Why make him wait? He needs help now. We need help now. That's when I understood. This wasn't about my safety. This wasn't about me being too old to live alone. This was about money. My house, my equity. Amber wanted it, now. The worst incident happened 18 months into their marriage. My 70th birthday, Amber called me. B, I want to throw you a birthday party. Here at your house. I'll handle everything. I was surprised. Touched even. That's very sweet, Amber. It'll be wonderful. Just trust me. The day of the party, I came home from having coffee with Claudia to find my house full of strangers, Amber's friends. People I'd never met, loud music, catered food I hadn't approved, and decorations everywhere, silver and white balloons, banners, completely redecorating my space. Amber was acting as hostess. Welcome, come in. Make yourselves comfortable. Like it was her house, her party. I pulled her aside. Amber, I thought this was a small family gathering. It is. These are like family. Friends are family. I don't know any of these people. Well, now you will. Relax, B, enjoy your party, but it wasn't my party. It was hers. And she was using my house as her venue. My friend Claudia came by with a gift. She took one look at the scene and whispered, "What is going on?" I have no idea. The worst part came at the end of the night, after everyone left. After I'd spent 3 hours being introduced to strangers in my own living room, Amber and Kenny stayed to help clean up, except Amber wasn't cleaning. She was rearranging. These photos are so cluttered. Let me organize them. She started taking down family photos, pictures of Gerald, of Kenny as a child, and putting them in a box. "What are you doing?" I asked, "Just decluttering." "This wall is too busy. Those are my family photos. Put them back. B, you have too much stuff. It makes the house look messy. If you ever want to sell, I'm not selling, but you should be thinking about it. And when you do, you'll want the house to show well." She continued removing photos. I went to stop her. "Amber, put those back. Now," she sighed. "You're being difficult. I'm trying to help. I didn't ask for your help. This is my house, my photos, my walls," Kenny intervened. "Mom, she's just trying to update things. Make it more modern. I don't want it modern. I want it the way it is. The way it's been for 44 years. Amber rolled her eyes. "That's exactly the problem. You're stuck in the past. Gerald is gone. You need to move forward." That's when she did the unforgivable. She pointed to Gerald's chair. His leather recliner in the corner, the chair he sat in every evening, the chair where he took his last conscious breath. That chair is hideous, and it takes up so much space. "We should donate it. My blood went cold. That's Gerald's chair." "Gerald is dead, B. You don't need to keep everything. Get out." "What?" "Get out of my house, now." Amber looked shocked. "I'm just trying to help you let go of—" "I don't want to let go. This is my home. These are my things, my memories, and you have no right to touch any of it. Leave." Kenny stepped forward. "Mom, you're overreacting. Amber didn't mean— Your wife just told me to get rid of your father's chair. The chair he died in. And you're defending her?" Kenny looked torn, guilty, but he still said, "Mom, we're just worried about you. This house is full of reminders of Dad. Maybe it's not healthy." "Healthy? You think forgetting your father is healthy?" "That's not what I meant. Get out. Both of you." They left. But Amber turned at the door. "You're going to have to face reality eventually, B. You can't stay here forever. And the longer you wait, the harder it'll be." After they left, I sat in Gerald's chair and cried. My son had just chosen his wife over me. Over his father's memory. Over everything we'd built in this house, and I realized Amber wasn't going to stop. She was going to keep pushing until she got what she wanted. My house, my equity, my life. I had no idea how far she'd actually go. After the birthday party disaster, I didn't hear from Kenny for 2 weeks. No calls, no texts, nothing. I called him. It went to voicemail. I left a message. "Kenny, it's Mom. I'm sorry we fought. Please call me back." He didn't. I called again 3 days later. This time he answered. "Hi, Mom." "Kenny, I've been worried. Are you okay?" "I'm fine. Just busy. I'm sorry about what happened. I shouldn't have yelled. It's okay." "But Mom, you really hurt Amber's feelings. She was just trying to help. She wanted to throw away your father's chair." Silence. Then, maybe she had a point. Maybe holding on to all of Dad's things isn't healthy. I felt like I'd been slapped. "You think I should get rid of your father's belongings?" "I think maybe you're too attached to the past. Amber's been talking to me about it. She thinks you might have some depression. Hoarding tendencies. Hoarding?" "I'm not hoarding. I'm keeping memories of my husband. Your father. Mom, it's been 6 years. At some point, you need to move forward. I have moved forward. I'm living my life. I just don't want to erase your father from my home. Amber thinks— I don't care what Amber thinks. This is my house, my life. She doesn't get a say. She's my wife. Her opinions matter to me, more than mine." He didn't answer that. We ended the call stiffly, and I felt the distance growing between us. Amber was winning. She was turning my son against me. 3 months passed. Kenny visited once. Amber didn't come. She said she didn't feel comfortable in my house anymore after I'd attacked her. I hadn't attacked her. I'd asked her to leave. But somehow, in Amber's retelling, I'd been the villain. Then, on a Tuesday morning, I found something on my kitchen table. Brochures, glossy. Professional brochures for senior living facilities. Sunset Meadows, where every day is golden. Heritage Hills, Independent living for active seniors. Brookside Manor, assisted living with dignity. There was a note paperclipped to them. Amber's handwriting. B. Kenny and I have been researching options for you. These facilities have excellent reviews. Let's schedule some tours. We can help you make this transition. Amber. I stared at those brochures for a long time. She'd been in my house. Without permission. Had let herself in. Kenny must have given her his key and left these here like it was a done deal. Like I'd already agreed to leave my home. I called. Kenny, immediately. Did you give Amber a key to my house? Mom, hi. Yes, we thought it would be good for her to have one. In case of emergencies. There's no emergency. And I found brochures for nursing homes on my table. Did you know about this? They're not nursing homes. They're senior living communities. And yes, Amber and I have been discussing it. Mom, you're 70. You really should start thinking about, I am 70, not 90. I don't need assisted living. I don't need anyone checking on me. I'm perfectly capable. Mom, you live alone. What if you fall? What if you have a medical emergency? I have a medical alert button. I have neighbors. I have Claudia next door. I'm fine, but wouldn't you be happier somewhere with activities? Other people your age? You could make friends. I have friends. I have a life. I don't want to leave my home. Mom, be reasonable. That house is too much for you. The maintenance alone. I can afford the maintenance. But why? Why struggle with a big house when you could have a nice apartment? Everything taken care of for you? Because it's my home, Kenny. Don't you understand that? Silence. Then quietly, Amber says you're being stubborn, that you're not thinking clearly about your future. Amber doesn't get to decide my future, and neither do you. I'm your son. I have a responsibility to make sure you're safe. I am safe. What I'm not safe from is your wife trying to force me out of my own house. That's not fair. Amber cares about you. Amber cares about my house, about the equity, about getting her hands on $300,000. That's a horrible thing to say. It's the truth. She's been pushing me to sell since the day I met her. She wants the money. We don't want your money. We want you to be taken care of. Then respect my wishes. I want to stay in my home, he sighed. We'll talk about this later. I have to go. He hung up. I stood in my kitchen, holding those brochures, feeling my independence slipping away. 2 weeks later, Amber showed up at my door with a woman in a business suit. B. Hi, this is Sandra. She's a senior placement specialist. She helps families find the right living situations for their elderly loved ones. I didn't ask for a placement specialist, Sandra smiled professionally. I understand this can feel overwhelming, but I'm here to help, to explore your options. I don't need options. I'm staying here. Amber stepped inside, forcing her way past me. Sandra followed. Let's just sit down and chat, Amber said. No pressure. Just information. They sat on my couch. I remained standing. Sandra pulled out paperwork. Mrs. Coleman, I've reviewed the information Kenny and Amber provided. You're 71, widowed, living alone in a 3-bedroom home. No significant health issues currently, but at your age, it's wise to plan ahead. I have planned ahead. I'm staying here. But what about when you can't? What about when stairs become difficult? When driving isn't safe? Wouldn't you rather make these decisions now, while you're still capable, rather than waiting for a crisis? There's no crisis. Amber leaned forward. Not yet. But B, you're only getting older. Every year it'll get harder. Why not move now, while you can still enjoy an active senior community? Make friends, do activities, have support. I have support. I have my life here, Sandra continued. I have brochures for several excellent facilities. Some are independent living. You'd have your own apartment, but meals and activities provided. Others are assisted living with more support. We can tour them together. I'm not touring anything. Amber's voice hardened slightly. B, you're not being realistic. Kenny and I can't keep worrying about you. Then stop worrying. I'm fine. You say that now. But what about next year? Or the year after? This house will just keep deteriorating. You'll keep getting older. Why are you being so stubborn? I looked at her. Really looked at her. And I saw it clearly. She wasn't concerned about me. She was frustrated that I wasn't cooperating with her plan, her timeline, her agenda. Because this is my house, and I get to decide when I leave it. If I leave it, Sandra stood. Mrs. Coleman, I'll leave my card. When you're ready to discuss this seriously, please call me. After they left, I called Claudia. They're trying to force me out, I told her. They're going to keep pushing until I give in. Then don't give in, Claudia said. It's your house, B. They can't make you leave. But I was starting to wonder if that was true, because Amber seemed very confident that she could. It happened on a Saturday morning in October. 6 weeks after the placement specialist visit, I was in my garden, planting mums for fall color. It was a beautiful morning, cool, crisp air, leaves turning orange and gold, the kind of day that makes you grateful to be alive. I heard a truck pull up. I looked up and saw a large white moving van parking in front of my house. My heart sank. Then I saw Kenny's car pull in behind it, and Amber's SUV. They got out. Amber was wearing expensive athleisure clothes and oversized sunglasses. Kenny looked uncomfortable, avoiding my eyes. 2 men in uniform stepped out of the moving truck. I stood up, dirt on my gloves, fear rising in my chest. "What's going on?" Amber smiled brightly, too brightly. "Surprise! We're helping you move." "Move? Move where? We found you a beautiful place at Sunset Meadows. 1 bedroom, all meals included, activities every day. You're going to love it." I looked at Kenny. "You can't be serious." He shifted his weight. "Mom, we've been talking about this. It's time. We can't keep worrying about you here alone." I never agreed to move. "You can't just show up with a moving truck and—" "We already paid the first month's rent and deposit," Amber interrupted. "The room is ready for you. These movers will pack your essentials today. We'll deal with selling the house and the rest of your belongings later." "Selling the house? I'm not selling my house." "Mom, you don't have a choice," Kenny said quietly. "This is happening." I felt the world tilting. "You can't force me out of my own home." "We're not forcing you. We're helping you. You're just too stubborn to see it's for the best." Amber turned to the movers. "Gentlemen, you can start in the bedroom. Pack clothes, personal items, anything she'll need for the first few weeks." They started toward my door. "Stop!" I shouted. "You don't have permission to enter my house." Amber pulled out a key, Kenny's key. "We have permission. Kenny is your son. He has every right to make decisions for your well-being." "He absolutely does not. I'm not incapacitated. I'm not incompetent. I'm perfectly capable of making my own decisions." "Are you?" Amber's voice turned cold. "Because from where I'm standing, you're a stubborn old woman who refuses to accept reality. You can't maintain this house. You can't live alone safely, and you're too proud to admit it." "Amber, maybe we should—" Kenny started. "No!" Amber snapped. "We've tried being nice. We've tried reasoning with her. She won't listen. So now we're doing what needs to be done, for her own good." She turned back to the movers. "Start packing, bedroom first." The movers looked at me, uncertain. "Ma'am, is this okay with you?" one of them asked. "No, it's not okay. I don't want anyone touching my belongings. I'm not moving." Amber stepped between us. "Don't listen to her. She's confused. This is her son. He's handling the move." "I'm not confused." My voice was shaking now, with anger and fear. "I'm telling you clearly, I do not consent to this. I do not want to move. This is my house, and I'm staying here." Amber turned to me, her face hard. "Listen to me, Beatrice. This house is wasted on you. You're one person rattling around in 3 bedrooms. Kenny and I are crammed in a tiny apartment, struggling to save money, while you sit on $300,000 in equity doing nothing with it. So this is about money. This is about what's fair. Kenny is your son. He deserves his inheritance. His inheritance comes when I die. Not before. You're being selfish. You've lived here long enough. 44 years. That's more than enough. Time to pass it on." Kenny looked shocked. "Amber, that's not— I didn't mean— Don't back down now," Amber snapped at him. "Your mother is being unreasonable. We're doing the right thing." I looked at my son, the boy I raised, the man I thought I knew. "Kenny, are you really going to force me out of my home, the home where your father died, where you grew up?" He couldn't meet my eyes. "Mom, you'll be happier at Sunset Meadows. You'll have people to talk to, activities, care if you need it." "I don't need care. I need my home. I need my son to respect my wishes. We are respecting your wishes. You just don't know what's best for you anymore. That's when I understood. Amber had convinced him, had manipulated him into believing I was declining, incompetent, unable to make decisions for myself. Even though I was standing here, arguing coherently, fighting for my rights, he'd chosen to believe her narrative instead of seeing the truth. Amber gestured to the movers again. Come on, we're wasting time. Start packing. The movers started toward my door again. I made a decision. I pulled my phone from my pocket and dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? My name is Beatrice Coleman. I'm at 847 Maple Drive. There are people trying to force me out of my home. I need police here immediately. Amber's face went white. You called the police? On your own son? On trespassers trying to remove me from my property against my will. I'm his wife. We're family. You're trying to kidnap me and steal my house. That's not family. That's criminal. Kenny stepped forward, panicking now. Mom, cancel that call. There's no need for police. We can talk about this. We've talked enough. You brought a moving truck without my permission. You're trying to force me into a facility I never agreed to. You're touching my property without consent. The police need to be here. The 911 operator was still on the line. Ma'am, are you in immediate danger? Not physical danger. But people are trying to forcibly remove me from my home. Officers are on the way. Stay on the line. Amber was furious now. You're going to regret this, making a scene, embarrassing Kenny. You're just proving you're not competent to make decisions. We'll let the police decide that. 5 minutes later, a patrol car pulled up. Officer Patricia Reed stepped out, mid-40s, professional, assessing the situation immediately. Someone called about a disturbance? I stepped forward. I did. I'm Beatrice Coleman. This is my house. These people showed up with a moving truck trying to force me to move to a facility I never agreed to. Officer Reed looked at the moving truck, then at Kenny and Amber, then back at me. Ma'am, can you explain what's happening here? My name is Beatrice Coleman. I'm 71 years old. I own this house. I've lived here for 44 years. These people, I pointed at Kenny and Amber, showed up this morning with a moving truck and are trying to force me to move to an assisted living facility against my will. Amber stepped forward quickly. Officer, I'm her daughter-in-law. This is her son, Kenny. We're concerned about her safety. She's elderly and living alone in this big house. We've arranged a lovely facility for her, but she's being resistant. Resistant? I said. I explicitly told them no. Multiple times. I never agreed to move anywhere. Officer Reed looked at Kenny. Sir, is this your mother? Yes. And is this her house? Kenny hesitated. Well, yes, but is your name on the deed? No, but I'm her son. I have a responsibility to make medical decisions if she's incapacitated. Yes. Is your mother incapacitated? She's 71. That's not what I asked. Does she have dementia? Has she been declared incompetent by a doctor? Do you have power of attorney? Kenny looked at Amber helplessly. Amber jumped in. She's showing signs of decline, hoarding behaviors, refusal to accept help. We're trying to get her into care before something bad happens. Officer Reed turned to me. Mrs. Coleman, do you have any diagnosed cognitive issues? Dementia? Alzheimer's? No. I'm perfectly sharp. I volunteer at the library twice a week. I manage all my own finances. I drive. I'm completely independent. Do they have power of attorney? No. I never signed anything giving them authority over my decisions. Officer Reed looked at Amber. Ma'am, without power of attorney or a medical declaration of incompetence, you can't force someone out of their home, even if you're family. But she's elderly. She's alone. She could fall and die, and no one would find her for days. That's her choice to make. She's an adult with full mental capacity. Amber's face was getting red. This is ridiculous. Kenny is her son. He has rights. Not regarding her property, he doesn't. Ma'am, Officer Reed turned to me. Do you want these people to leave? I looked at Kenny, my son, standing there looking guilty and confused and still not defending me. Yes, I want them to leave. You heard her, Officer Reed said to Kenny and Amber. You need to leave the property. This is insane, Amber said. We're trying to help her. Ma'am, I need you to calm down. If you don't leave voluntarily, I'll have to arrest you for trespassing. Trespassing? I have a key. Having a key doesn't give you legal right to be here if the property owner asks you to leave. I spoke up. I want that key back, now. Amber's mouth fell open. You can't be serious. Give me the key, Amber. Kenny, tell your mother she's being unreasonable. Kenny looked torn, devastated, but he pulled out his keychain and removed his key to my house. He handed it to me without meeting my eyes. And hers, I said, pointing at Amber. Amber clutched her purse. No, I need this key in case of emergencies. Officer Reed stepped forward. Ma'am, give her the key or I'm charging you with trespassing right now. Amber pulled the key from her purse and threw it on the ground at my feet. Fine, take it, but don't come crying to us when you fall and break a hip and no one finds you for days. Officer Reed's voice was sharp. That's enough. Leave, now. This isn't over, Amber hissed at me. We'll be back with lawyers. We'll prove you're not competent. Try it, I said quietly. I'll be ready. The movers had already gotten back in their truck, wanting nothing to do with this drama. They drove away. Kenny and Amber got in their vehicles. Before Kenny drove off, he rolled down his window. Mom, I'm sorry. I thought we were helping. You thought wrong. And you chose your wife over your mother. I love you both. I'm just trying to do the right thing. The right thing is respecting my wishes. I said no. That should have been enough. He drove away. Amber followed, giving me one last hateful look. After they left, Officer Reed turned to me. Mrs. Coleman, are you okay? I'm shaken, but I'm okay. Do you have documentation that this is your property? Just for my report. Yes, come inside. I'll show you everything. We went into my house. I pulled out my deed, my property tax records. Everything showing I was the sole owner of this property. Officer Reed took notes. This is pretty clear-cut. You're the legal owner. You're of sound mind. You have every right to refuse to move. But I have to ask, are you safe? Are they going to come back and try this again? I don't know. Amber seems determined. You might want to consider a restraining order, or at least document everything. Change your locks too. Make sure they don't have any other copies of keys. I will. And Mrs. Coleman? You were right to call us. What they were trying to do, forcing you out of your home, that's not legal. You have rights. After Officer Reed left, I sat in Gerald's chair and shook for an hour. My son had tried to force me out of my home. My daughter-in-law had called me incompetent. They'd brought a moving truck to kidnap me into assisted living, and I'd had to call the police on my own family. But I'd won. I'd stood my ground. Still, I knew Amber wouldn't give up. She'd meant what she said. She'd be back, with lawyers, with doctors, with whatever she needed to prove I couldn't live independently. I needed to protect myself, legally, permanently. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Monday morning, I called every lawyer in the phone book until I found one who could see me that day, James Thornton. Estate planning and elder law. His office was in a small building downtown. He was 58, gray hair, kind eyes, and when I told him what happened, he didn't look shocked. Mrs. Coleman, unfortunately, what you're describing is more common than you'd think. Adult children trying to force elderly parents out of their homes, usually for financial reasons. What can I do to protect myself? Several things. First, we need to make sure you have proper legal protections in place. Do you have an updated will? I made one 15 years ago. Everything goes to Kenny. We should update that. Not to disinherit him, but to add protections. Make sure the house can't be sold or transferred except under specific circumstances. Like what? Like if you become genuinely incapacitated and need long-term care. But even then, we can set up a trust that controls how the proceeds are used. Make sure you're taken care of first, and only after your death does Kenny inherit. I want him to have it. Eventually, but not while I'm alive and capable. Exactly. We'll make that crystal clear. Second, do you have a durable power of attorney? No, you should. But not Kenny. Not if he's under his wife's influence. Is there someone else you trust? A friend? Another family member? I thought about it. My friend Claudia. We've known each other 30 years. She's 70, sharp as a tack, and she'd never try to steal from me. Perfect. We'll set up a durable power of attorney naming Claudia. That way, if you ever do become incapacitated, she makes decisions, not Kenny, and certainly not Amber. What about medical decisions? Same thing. Healthcare power of attorney to Claudia. That removes any claim they might make about needing to make medical decisions on your behalf. I felt relief washing over me. What else? We need to document your competence. I'm going to refer you to a geriatric specialist, Dr. Sarah Chen. She'll do a full cognitive assessment. Memory tests, decision-making capacity, everything. When she determines you're fully competent, which I'm confident she will, we'll have that documentation. If Amber tries to claim you're declining, we'll have medical proof that you're not. Can I get a restraining order? Based on what you've described, yes. They attempted to forcibly remove you from your property. The daughter-in-law has been harassing you. We can file for a protective order against Amber specifically. It'll bar her from coming to your home or contacting you. What about Kenny? James leaned forward. That's harder. He's your son, and from what you've told me, he seems more manipulated than malicious. I'd recommend not including him in the restraining order yet. Give him a chance to realize what his wife is doing. But if he continues the harassment, we can add him later. How long will all this take? The will and power of attorney documents I can have ready by end of week. The cognitive assessment with Dr. Chen might take 2 weeks to get an appointment. The restraining order we can file this week. Should be heard within 10 days. What do I do in the meantime? What if they come back? Call the police immediately if they show up. Don't let them in. Don't engage. You've already established with law enforcement that you want them gone. Any return visit is trespassing. What if they try to have me committed? Can they do that? Not without a doctor's evaluation and a court order. And once you have Dr. Chen's assessment, any doctor they bring will see you've already been evaluated as competent. They'd have no grounds. I left James Thornton's office feeling stronger, more prepared, but the battle wasn't over. That evening, Amber started texting me. I'd never blocked her number because I didn't want to seem paranoid. Now I regretted it. B, you embarrassed us in front of the police. That was cruel. Kenny is devastated. You turned him against us. We were only trying to help you. Why can't you see that? You're going to end up dying alone in that house. Is that what you want? I didn't respond to any of them. 2 days later, Amber showed up at my house again. I saw her car pull up. She got out and started walking toward my door. I called 911 immediately. This is Beatrice Coleman at 847 Maple Drive. The woman the police removed from my property on Saturday is back. I want her arrested for trespassing. Amber was knocking on my door. B, I know you're in there. Open up, we need to talk. I didn't answer. B, stop being childish. I'm not leaving until you talk to me. Officer Reed arrived within 8 minutes. Same officer as before. She approached Amber, who was still pounding on my door. Ma'am, you need to leave this property. Amber whirled around. I'm talking to my mother-in-law, who has called the police and asked you to leave. You were already warned on Saturday. This is trespassing. That's insane. She's my family, and she's asked you to leave. Last chance. Leave now, or you're under arrest. Amber looked at my door, where I was watching through the window. This isn't over, B. You can't keep me away forever. Ma'am, leave, now. Amber got in her car and peeled out of the driveway. Officer Reed came to my door. Mrs. Coleman, you should really get that restraining order. This woman isn't going to stop. I'm working on it. My lawyer is filing this week. Good. In the meantime, we'll keep a closer eye on your street. If she shows up again, call immediately. 3 days later, Amber tried a different tactic. She sent a social worker to my house. Someone from Adult Protective Services. A woman in her 30s knocked on my door. Mrs. Coleman? I'm Jessica Barnes from APS. We received a report of concern about your living situation. May I come in? My heart sank. Who made the report? I can't disclose that, but someone who knows you expressed concerns about your ability to live independently. I'm here to do a welfare check. I let her in because refusing would look bad. She walked through my house, looking at everything. My clean kitchen, my organized living room, my tidy bedroom. Mrs. Coleman, your home looks well maintained. That's because I maintain it. Can you tell me about your daily routine? I explained. My meals, my activities, my volunteer work, my friend Claudia, my independence. She asked about medications. I showed her my pill organizer, perfectly organized by day. She asked about finances. I showed her my checkbook, balanced to the penny. After an hour, she closed her notebook. Mrs. Coleman, I see no evidence of neglect or inability to care for yourself. You're clearly competent and managing well. I'll close this report as unfounded. Can you tell me who made the report? She hesitated. I really shouldn't. But between you and me, it was your daughter-in-law. And this wasn't the first call. She's been calling our office weekly for a month, trying to get us to remove you from your home. The restraining order hearing was scheduled for a Thursday morning. 2 weeks after the moving truck incident, I sat in the courtroom with James Thornton. Amber was there with her own lawyer, someone cheap-looking who kept checking his phone. Kenny was there too. But he sat in the back, not with Amber. That surprised me. The judge was a woman in her 60s, Judge Patricia Morrison. She looked tired, like she'd seen too many family disputes. James presented our case. The timeline of harassment, the moving truck incident, the police reports, the APS calls, the texts. He submitted everything. Printed texts from Amber, Officer Reed's reports. The statement from Jessica Barnes at APS confirming Amber had called repeatedly. Your Honor, Mrs. Coleman is a 71-year-old woman who simply wants to live independently in her own home. Ms. Sutton Coleman has engaged in a systematic campaign to force her out, not for Mrs. Coleman's benefit, but for financial gain. Amber's lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client is concerned about her mother-in-law's safety. Mrs. Coleman is elderly, living alone in a large house. My client's actions, while perhaps overzealous, came from a place of genuine concern. Judge Morrison looked at Amber. Ms. Sutton Coleman, did you hire a moving truck and attempt to remove Mrs. Coleman from her home on October 14th? Yes, but did Mrs. Coleman consent to this move? She's not thinking clearly. That's not what I asked. Did she consent? Amber's lawyer whispered to her. She answered reluctantly. No. Have you been calling Adult Protective Services repeatedly claiming Mrs. Coleman is unable to care for herself? I was worried. Has APS found any evidence supporting your claims? Silence. I'll take that as a no. Do you have medical documentation showing Mrs. Coleman is incompetent? Not yet, but so you attempted to forcibly remove a competent adult from her own home. You've harassed her. You've made false reports to state agencies. Ms. Sutton Coleman, what you've done is called elder abuse. Amber's face went white. I'm not abusing her. I'm trying to help. Help that isn't wanted is harassment. Judge Morrison signed papers. I'm granting the restraining order. Ms. Sutton Coleman, you are to stay at least 500 feet away from Mrs. Coleman and her property. No contact, no phone calls, texts, emails, or third-party communication. Violation will result in arrest. Do you understand? This is insane. She's going to die alone in that house and it'll be your fault. Ma'am, one more outburst and you'll be held in contempt. Do you understand the order? Amber's lawyer grabbed her arm. Yes? Your Honor, she understands. Good. This order is effective immediately and valid for 1 year. Mrs. Coleman can petition to extend it if necessary. The gavel came down. As we left the courtroom, Amber tried to approach me. Her lawyer held her back. Don't. You'll violate the order before you even leave the building. But she shouted across the hallway. Kenny, are you just going to let this happen? She's your mother. Tell her she's being ridiculous. Kenny was standing near me. He didn't move toward Amber. Instead, he turned to me. Mom, can we talk, please? I looked at James. He nodded. I'll wait in the car. Kenny and I walked to a quiet corner of the courthouse. I'm sorry, he said immediately. I'm so sorry. I didn't see what was happening. Or I did, but I didn't want to believe it. What changed? Amber's been different since you called the police. Angry all the time. Obsessed with your house. Last night we had a huge fight. She said if I really loved her, I'd force you out. That we deserved that house more than you did. She actually said, your mother has lived there long enough. She's been saying things like that since the day I met her. I know. And I made excuses. I told myself she was just concerned, that she wanted what was best for you. But sitting in that courtroom, hearing the judge call it elder abuse, his voice cracked. Mom, I almost helped her steal your home. I almost helped her destroy you. You did help her, Kenny. You brought that moving truck. I know, and I'll never forgive myself. I was so focused on making Amber happy that I stopped seeing you. Really seeing you. You're not declining. You're not incompetent. You're the same strong, independent woman you've always been. And I tried to take that away from you. I felt tears coming. Why did you believe her over me? Because she's my wife. And I wanted to believe we were doing the right thing. She made it sound like love, like protection. I didn't see it was control, manipulation, greed. What happens now? With you and Amber? He took a deep breath. I'm filing for divorce. I called a lawyer this morning, before the hearing. I can't stay married to someone who tried to abuse my mother. She'll fight you. Let her. We've only been married 2 years. No kids. I'll be free of her. And us? Can we fix this? Kenny looked at me with tears in his eyes. I hope so. I don't expect you to forgive me immediately. I don't deserve it. But Mom, I'm going to spend the rest of my life making this up to you. I'm going to be the son you deserved all along. I just want my son back. You have him. I promise. We hugged in that courthouse hallway. And for the first time in 2 years, I felt like I had my family back. Not the family Amber tried to create, but the real one, the one that mattered. A week later, Kenny moved out of the apartment he shared with Amber. He didn't ask to stay with me. He knew I needed my space. He got his own place. Amber tried to contact him. Tried to contact me through mutual acquaintances. Every attempt was documented and reported to the court. She violated the restraining order once, driving by my house slowly, staring. A neighbor called the police. Amber was arrested, spent a night in jail, and didn't try again. Kenny's divorce proceedings began. Amber demanded half of everything, even though they'd only been married 2 years and she'd brought nothing into the marriage. She demanded alimony. The judge laughed her out of court. She tried to claim Kenny had promised her we'd sell my house and give her half. Kenny's lawyer presented texts showing Amber's manipulation, her obsession with my property, her attempts at elder abuse. The divorce was granted. Amber got nothing. 1 year later, I'm still in my house. The house I've lived in for 45 years. The house Amber tried to steal from me, and I'm thriving. Let me tell you what's changed. First, the legal protections. James Thornton helped me update everything. My will now puts the house in a trust. When I die, Kenny inherits, but only after my death, and only if I die of natural causes or in circumstances where I've had proper medical care. There are protections built in to prevent anyone from pressuring me to speed up the inheritance. My power of attorney is with Claudia. My healthcare proxy is with Claudia. Kenny is not on any of my legal documents with decision-making power. Not because I don't trust him, but because I learned my lesson. He can inherit my house when I'm gone, but he has no control over it while I'm alive. Dr. Chen's cognitive assessment came back perfect. I scored better than average for my age. I have that documentation filed with my lawyer, my doctor, and a copy in my safe. If anyone ever questions my competence again, I have proof. Second, my relationship with Kenny. It took time. He came to Sunday dinners again slowly. We talked about what happened, about how Amber manipulated him, about how he failed me. I should have believed you, he said one Sunday, sitting in his father's chair, the chair Amber wanted to throw away. When you said she wanted your house, I should have listened. You wanted to believe the best of your wife. I understand that, but she showed me who she was over and over, and I ignored it because I wanted my marriage to work. Kenny's been in therapy, dealing with the guilt, the manipulation, learning how to set boundaries, how to see red flags. He's dating someone new, a woman named Patricia, a teacher. She's kind, genuine, and when I met her, the first thing she said was, "Mrs. Coleman, I've heard so much about you. Kenny talks about you all the time. I hope we can be friends." Not, "I hope you like me," or "I want to make a good impression." Just genuine warmth. She's been to my house 3 times. Never once commented on its size, its value, or suggested I should live somewhere else. Third, Amber's fate. The divorce was finalized 8 months ago. She got nothing. No alimony, no assets, nothing. She tried to stay in Charlotte, but her reputation was destroyed. The elder abuse attempt became public record. The story made local news. Woman tries to force mother-in-law out of home. She moved to another state. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she's working retail now, living with her sister, struggling. I don't feel sorry for her. She tried to steal my home, my autonomy, my life. She learned that actions have consequences. Fourth, my life now. I'm 72. I still live independently. I still volunteer at the library. I still have coffee with Claudia every Tuesday. I still maintain my garden. I installed a medical alert system with fall detection, not because anyone forced me to, but because it's smart. I have a weekly housekeeping service come in, not because I can't clean, but because I don't want to anymore. I'm making choices about my life on my terms. And that's what matters. My house is still worth about $300,000, maybe more now. But it's not for sale. It'll be Kenny's when I'm gone. And in my will, there's a letter to him. Kenny, this house is yours now. But remember what your father and I built here. Remember what we sacrificed to give you this. And never let anyone take it from you the way Amber tried to take it from me. This house represents love, sacrifice, and family. Treat it with respect. I think about Amber sometimes, about how she saw me as an obstacle, an old woman taking up space in a valuable asset, someone to be moved aside. She underestimated me. She thought because I was 71, I was powerless, weak, easy to manipulate. She was wrong. I'm 72 years old. I've survived raising a child, 40 years of marriage, my husband's death, and a daughter-in-law's attempt to steal my home. I'm not fragile. I'm not incompetent. I'm not someone who can be pushed around. And to every elderly person watching this, you have rights. Your home is yours. Your decisions are yours. No one, not your children, not their spouses, not anyone, can force you out of your home if you're competent. Document everything. Get legal protections in place. Don't wait until someone's trying to force you into assisted living. Do it now while you're healthy and clear-headed. And if someone tries what Amber tried, call the police. Call a lawyer. Fight back. You are not too old to stand up for yourself. What city are you watching from? Have you ever had family members try to take advantage of you? Have you had to stand up for your rights against people who thought you were too old to fight back? Share your story in the comments. And if this is your first time here, subscribe and turn on notifications. We share stories like this every day. Real family drama, real elder abuse, real justice. My name is Beatrice Coleman. I'm 72 years old. I live in the house I've lived in for 45 years, and no one is ever taking it from me again. Remember, being elderly doesn't mean being powerless. Know your rights, protect yourself legally, and never let anyone make you feel like you don't deserve the life you've built. Take care of yourselves. Stand your ground. And never underestimate a woman who spent 45 years fighting for her home.